Breaking Cycles life. Now, for today's encouragement, we're going to the book of 2 Kings, and it's chapter 5, verses 1 to 19. You know I'm not about to read all those 19 verses, right? I'll give you a summary though, but here is the reference, okay? And the scripture will be in the description box below. Okay, so it's entitled in my Bible, Naaman's leprosy healed, right? So who is Naaman? What are we talking about today, Shanique? So Naaman is a commander of the king of Syria, and he had leprosy, right? So when they had conquered Israel, they had brought back a little servant girl who basically served his wife, waited on his wife, right? Now, the wife was feeling distressed about her husband's sickness, which was Naaman, and she was expressing it. So the little servant girl from Israel was like, there is a prophet in Samaria that can help you with your husband's illness. And then the lady was like, really? So she expressed that to her husband, and they were like, okay, let's try this. And they basically prepared gifts, because that was the custom back in the day. If you're going to ask for a favor, you would give gifts, right? And they prepared gifts for the prophet, and they headed out to Samaria to the prophet, to Elisha, the prophet. And when they went to Elisha then proceeded to give them the remedy. Now, the remedy was, God said, go to River Jordan and dip in the river 7 times. Basically, dip. Immerse yourself 7 times in the river. So Naaman basically made his pride get the best of it. He was like, excuse you. So you are telling me that all these other rivers are nice and clean, and you're telling me to go to the filthiest river to get healed? Zamaban. Why? Okay? So, why is it that you can't tell me to go to one of those clean rivers and dip and be healed? Why is it that you have to make me why do you have to basically attack my pride and make me have to humble myself to that point where I have to go and dip in a filthy river Jordan? Of all the rivers you could think of, River Jordan? No, come on. No. So he left distressed. So on his journey back, his servant said to him, master, if the prophet had told you to do something great and mighty, you would do it. How much more? He said, wash and be clean. And I think God used that. God used those servants and that statement to basically lick Naaman over the head and say, that is true. Let me humble myself and let me go to Jordan River. And he went and he dipped 7 times. And in dipping 7 times, he then became healed after the 7th immersion, right? And that is how this commander of Syria was healed, by obedience and humility. Now, what are the points for today's encouragement? If you haven't guessed it already, obedience and humility. Guys, I know, I understand when God tells us to do things, because God doesn't always make us do things in the way where it's going to be pleasing to the world or pleasing to yourself either, because it just doesn't seem as if it should go that way. Why can't you put me in the best situation and still work things out for me? Why is it that you need to use the worst of situations to glorify your name through my life? Why? But actually, I think the beauty comes from the fact that no one expects his glory to come from those unfavorable situations. And because no one expects his glory to come from those unfavorable situations, he uses those situations. He uses the foolishness of humanity. He uses the things that are scorned by humanity. He uses those things to show his glory, to say, regardless of what society thinks of you or what society requires of you to do it this way, be obedient, be humble, and then in being obedient and being humble, watch me turn this filth, this bad situation, this scorned situation into something magical, something something that people are going to then crave, want, because they're like, okay, how is that person so successful? How is that person this, that? And they didn't see the fact that you had to humble yourself and be be obedient in those rough times where it would have been scorned on at first, because you're doing it because that's where God told you, that's what God told you to do, right? So let me even use this example. So I know the grading system in Jamaica, like when we are going for high school, right? And some schools are not necessarily labeled as grades, and some are, right? And oftentimes when GSAT results come around and someone doesn't get their favored school results, it basically dims their spirit, and you know it's like in some cases it's like a dead end from there, like just a downhill from there. And I'm here to encourage you, if even if you're a child or a teenager, preteen, watching this video, don't look at the fact that, okay, you passed for a school that is not necessarily top notch. Go there and watch God work for you and turn that into beauty. Because trust me, I know persons who come from schools that are not deemed favorable, and they're still making it great in life. They're still going to university, the same university that the top achievers are going to. They're still getting good grades that the top achievers are getting. So don't let your situation define you. Just as how Naaman had to learn to not let the fact that God told him to go there into the Jordan River to define him, right? Don't let those situations define you. It's for you to go there, be obedient, and do what God told you to do. Be a leader in that place. And then, in doing that, guys, you'll see God turn that into a beautiful thing. Also, another example would be, what if you didn't get the job that you aspired to get because you're overqualified for this job that you're basically doing right now? It just seems mediocre and it's embarrassing to do this job. God placed you there for a reason. Be humble, be obedient, and watch him turn that situation. That job could be where your success is. Honestly, that job could be where your success is, and you would never know. And if it is that you're not obedient and humble in the situation, you won't reach that point of success that he wants for you, because pride would have gotten in the way, because you think that the logical way, the humanistic way, the one that you study for, is what should happen. But God works in mysterious ways. I think we've all heard that cliche line, but it's true. He works in the unexpected. Just as though I wanted to do actuarial science, and since no one has answered me. No one has answered me regarding actuarial science and a job in actuarial science. He humbled me because, hey, I always swore to myself, I'm not teaching. But look, I was teaching for 3-4 years. And teaching actually taught me a lot of things. It brought me into a good position. And then it was while I was teaching, he then proceeded to put me into the career path that he intended for my life, and that was medicine. So if I had not done what I did and be obedient to the fact that my circumstances caused me to become a teacher, then it wouldn't necessarily work out in this way. It would have probably been a different way, which would probably be a harder route, if you understand what I'm saying. So guys, be obedient, be humble. It doesn't matter if God is telling you to do something that is scorned upon, just do it. Because it's in that, guys, you'll see that your success is born. Facts. Okay? It's in those humbling situations that success is born. If you've ever listened to anyone who has had a success story, where do they all start? Somewhere where someone's like, really? That really happened to them? Really? That, you know? So, yeah, be humble and be obedient. Just as how Naaman had to learn. And you see, it was in following precise instructions, because he could have dipped once, twice, three times and said, okay, it's not working. No, no, no. The prophet said, and God said, dip 7 times. And he had to dip 7 times. So obedience is key. Dip 7 times and then you'll be healed. And upon the seventh dip, he was healed. So be obedient and be humble and watch God work great and mighty things from the unfavorable situations. Okay? So bye bye, guys. Have a great day.